We're gonna answer the #1 question we get asked about seasoning meats today, right now. Welcome back to another week of the FOGO Life. I am your host, Captain Ron. So we get asked all the time, and we hear all the time, when should I season my meat? Do I season it right before I cook it? Do I season it 24 hours? Do I season it 12 hours? Bobbity, bobbity, bop, yada, yada, yada. Well, guess what? Today we're gonna solve this. I got one rack here that I seasoned 24 hours ago, and I got one rack that we're gonna season just before we cook it. So we're gonna answer the question one for all. Pre-season my ribs or season when I cook them? Let's go. First thing we need to do is the first ingredient. Charcoal. Let's get our grill lit so that when these are seasoned, we can throw them right on and get cooking. As you saw, we already had some old charcoal in there from our previous cook. Well, all we did was we lit that, then we added some nice fresh stuff on there. The fresh stuff's gonna burn quicker, it's gonna burn a little bit more evenly, but look at the size. We're using super premium. This is our low and slow charcoal. It's the first ingredient. Look at the size of these chunks. Low and slow, done right. And we're gonna add some bourbon barrel chunks on here. These are smoking wood, awesome stuff, really mild flavor, but ooh, they smell like heaven. So let's throw these in here. Now we got our charcoal lit. Let's slow down for a second here and cover something really important. We get a lot of questions still about how do I smoke in my big green egg? How am I doing? So some of you are experienced are gonna know this already, but if not, just pay attention. It's gonna cover it in a real quick second. This is what's called the expander system. So what we have here is we have this basket that goes into the egg, and we've got what's called the convector. This is basically a deflector plate that what happens is that as the fire lights and goes underneath it, it's gonna make the heat and the smoke come around. So it's gonna come around and come back down on the meat. So all we do, place our grate over here, as such, and back in the egg. You're probably wondering, we're into this far into this video, and you're probably saying, so what exactly are we covering here? Well, there's two schools of thought on when you should season your meats before smoking. I always hear the day before, season them up, wrap them in plastic, and put them in the refrigerator overnight. I've also heard it's best to season them right before you put them on the smoker. So we wanted to find out which is best, to pre-season or not to pre-season. That is the question. Now, as you can see, we lit our charcoal, we put our smoking blocks in there already, so we're getting some nice smoke coming out of here. See this white smoke? We want to wait for that to clear anyway. We want that to be a nice blue smoke or even clear. Even when there's no smoke apparent, it's still smoking, trust me. Now, because I work so hard for all of you, what I did is I took this first rack of ribs, and yesterday I cleared off all the fat that needed to come off. I cleared off the membrane on the back of them. I coated them in mayo as a binder, and then I put a simple seasoning of salt and pepper on here, nothing else. We're going completely Texas style. So this has been in the refrigerator for 24 hours. It's actually kind of interesting to see because it's actually shrunken up quite a bit more compared to the other one. So I'm really curious to see how this test is gonna come out. Does it make a difference to pre-season them or not to pre-season them? I know I'm super curious about this. Now, one thing for sure is that if you want a superior product in the end, you have to start with a superior product. Now, we acquired these beautiful, beautiful racks of ribs from our friends at Raikes Beef Company. There's actually a link down below in the description if you'd like to check them out. This is an American Wagyu prime beef ribs, all right? They are absolutely gorgeous. The marbling in them is insane, and they are just gonna be full of flavor. I just know it. American Wagyu, can't beat it. So the first thing I wanna do is what I did to the other first rack, is to take this whole entire fat cap right off the top, okay? Just take your knife and just get underneath it. And just take a thin layer off at a time. We don't want to take the meat off, just the fat. Look at that marbling. Now that is some cleaned up ribs. Now some people like to leave this on. I like to take it off. What I've found is that if I don't take it off, what's going to happen is that as I'm cooking it, okay, it's going to make the ribs curl, and we're not going to get such an even cook. So stick your knife in there, get it started, and just kind of use your fingers to work your way and pull it off. First step, let's cover these with mayo. Now this is a very complicated rub to make. We're going to use equal parts of black pepper. This is 16 mesh black pepper. And equal parts kosher salt. And then we just sprinkle our seasoning on. Now what I'm going to do, because we just seasoned this one now, I'm going to mark this one, putting this pick in it, so we will always know which one the freshly seasoned one is. Our racks are seasoned, our egg is lit and up to temperature, so let's go ahead and put these babies on. Man, are they beautiful. Nice racks. Now to check our temperatures, we're gonna use our meter plus thermometer probe here, so we're just gonna stick it right in the center of the meat, so we get a good accurate reading. And onto the egg it goes. Now that we've got the ribs on, let's do a little recap on what we've done so far. So we took these beautiful American Wagyu prime ribs from Raikes Beef Company. We took the silver skin off the bottom. We took the fat cap off the top, or I should say the membrane off the bottom. Took the silver skin off the top. And on one rack, we seasoned them 24 hours ago and let them sit in the refrigerator wrapped. The second one, we did the same stuff, but we seasoned it and put it right on the egg. So they both went on at the same time. The big question is here, is it going to make a difference in the final product? In theory, by having all that seasoning on there for all of that time in the refrigerator, the juices and everything are supposed to come up, grab a hold of that salt, grab a hold of that pepper, and pull it all back in and make it seasoned so that it's all through the whole piece of meat. That's what we're going for. Does it make a difference? Who knows? Only time will tell. Let's check it out together. We are about 2¼ hours into our rib cook here, and guess what? They are ready. Now, they hit our 165 mark quite a while ago, actually. But what I did is I left it in there. I wanted that bark to build up, so I wanted to have a nice, solid black bark. So, our next step, wrapping our ribs. Now you can see what's happened here is when we started, that meat was all the way out to here, almost even covering the bones. This is called pullback. That's exactly what you want. That meat is going to shrink up as you cook it. If you're doing it right, you're going to have nice pullback on it, and those bones are going to be smiling at you. So, to wrap them, we turn it upside down. Nice and simple. Then when we put it back on, it'll be bone side down. Now don't forget, these are intensely marbled because they're American Wagyu here, so that the more fat you have, the more marbling, the more it's going to contract. So that's why you have so much pullback here. Now this is the one that was not pre-seasoned, so we still have our pick in it here. We're going to pull that out and wrap these guys by themselves again. So flip them over. I like to do it upside down. This way the seam is actually at the bottom. For those of you, if you're unfamiliar with wrapping, what we're doing is something called the Texas Crutch, all right? So we can let them cook straight through. It's gonna take forever. They take a really long time. The Texas Crutch, we wrap it in that peach butcher paper, and what that does is it cuts down on the amount of time it takes to cook, because now it's cooking in its own heat. It's using its own juices to make it cook a lot quicker. So you're gonna cut hours off of your time of cooking, but yet still have the good thing. It's normally done around 165. We did it around 175 because we wanted that bark to build a little more. It's freedom of choice. So we did that, and now what we're gonna do is we're gonna let it go to about 203 or so, but they're gonna be probe tender. So that's what we just did. The Texas Crutch, you do it with this, you do it with briskets, you do it with pork butts. It works like a champion. You wanna know how to know when your beef ribs are ready? Let me show you. When you just drop it and it goes all the way to the bone just like that, you know that they're done. Let's just check and see what temperature they're at. 206. All right, so rack number one coming off. There's number one. And let's grab number two. You know what? Now that they came off, now what do we do with them? We're gonna put them in this. All right, this is called a Cambro container. You might not have one of these, but you may have a cooler. All right, what I did is I put a metal hotel pan in the bottom here so that it doesn't make a giant mess, because if you notice, when we took those things off, did you notice the fat just running out of there, all those juices just running out of there? We wanna save all of that. That is flavor. Don't get rid of it. So we're gonna put these in here, cover them up, let them rest at least 1 hour. Longer is fine, but at least 1 hour. The smoke is everywhere. And notice we still have the marker in. This is the one that we just seasoned right before cooking. So I'm gonna do that. If you want to, you can lay some towels across here too to keep it extra warm. These Cambros are really good though. If you have a cooler, I highly recommend putting the towels. Cambros, you don't really need it. Good to go, just like this. We're gonna, like I said, we're gonna let them rest for a minimum of an hour, probably closer to 2. And they're done. Drum roll, please. I am so excited. Oh my God. I know I've said it before. If we had smell-o-vision right now, your mouth would have just started watering and drooling. I'm telling you what. So, all right, let's take them out of here. That is the 1 minute seasoned one. This is the 1 day seasoned one. That pick was a genius idea, if I may say so myself. And if you can see, there's literally Wagyu fat flying everywhere right now. These things are just dripping with fat. And the first one we're gonna do is our just seasoned before cooking ribs. There's gotta be a quicker way to say that, but I don't know what it is. So, let's unwrap these. Look at all this juice, oh my goodness. Woo-wee. Yeah, I think they're jiggling. They're looking good. Now, let's see what the other wrap looks like. Oh yeah, same thing, just jiggling away. Juicy as can be, hot AF. Woo! Beautiful bark. Next step, we're gonna cut into them, see what they look like. So the first one we're gonna cut is the one that was seasoned just before cooking. So let's see what we've got here. And now rack number 2. Let's see, that first one was so beautiful. I hope this one is the same. Folks, the moment we've been waiting for is here. The ultimate dilemma in seasoning finally answered. We're gonna test it right now, at least my opinion on it anyway. So, the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take a bite of this one. This is the one that was seasoned just before we cooked it, all right? Had no time to soak in or anything like that, so let's give this one a shot. That is so good. These Raikes beef ribs are unbelievable. They have so much marbling and flavor and tenderness. Golly, I'm telling you, they call this brisket on a stick. I think this is even better than brisket. That's just my personal opinion. So that was really good. That was really good. You can really taste the meat. Now, let's taste the one that was seasoned 24 hours before cooking, okay? I'm a little bit surprised. What I found was the one that was seasoned a day ahead of time has a little bit more saltiness to it. It's the same exact rub. It had a little bit more saltiness to it inside the meat. The bark and everything really tastes the same to me. I didn't find any difference in that whatsoever. But the inside of the meat does seem to have more flavor than the one that was seasoned just prior to it. So I gotta tell you, I've always been the guy that seasons it right before putting it on the grill. I may just have to change my ways now. Because let me tell you something, there is a difference. I didn't think there would be this much difference. There is. This one definitely has more flavor on the inside than the one that was seasoned just before eating. So, pretty amazing. I'm amazed. I want to thank Raikes Beef Company for sending us these beautiful ribs. Like I said, there's a link in the description. Also, any of the products that we use in this video, anything that you saw, if you have a question about it, there's a link below in the description. I'm very impressed. First of all, I'm a very happy guy. I'm gonna get down and eat all of these right now. So that's my favorite part. But I have to do one thing before that. I have to tell you to remember to get out and grill. And I'll see you next time on the FOGO Life.